All right, fellas. So, breaking news: the Knicks have fired Tom Thibodeau. He is no longer the head coach of the New York Knicks. First time since 2020 that the Knicks will be conducting a head coaching interview process to determine the franchise's next head coach. And am I surprised at this? It's like half and half, okay? I wouldn't have been surprised if they brought him back because, they just made the conference finals. The players swear by him. It seemed like the front office bought into him. But then on the other hand, the way they lost the conference finals, the continuous concerns about playoffs and adjustments and, adjusting too late, ultimately the latter side ended up winning out, and the Knicks are going to be looking for a new head coach now. And, obviously I was not expecting this to happen today. I was going to take like a little week off or something, I understand I haven't exactly been, Mr. Model of consistency here. However, every other day for the conference finals, I was going to lay back for a little bit, Switch 2 comes out this Friday. I was going to, grind some Mario Kart, but I guess the grind never stops here either. So my thoughts on this are, I feel like the fact that there was a report yesterday that Johnny Bryant was a finalist in the Suns job. Johnny Bryant, former lead assistant for the Knicks for 4 years under Tom Thibodeau, left this past season to go join Kenny Atkinson's staff. I feel like that's kind of been the guy that the Knicks have been grooming for a while here to try and get in and be the franchise's next head coach. And so now that, there are credible reports that there is a very significant chance he could be getting a job elsewhere, the Knicks figured, hey, we're not all in on Thibs, but Johnny Bryant, we're all in on him. That was our guy for the longest. Now we have a chance to bring him in, kind of maximize our roster. I feel like they decided, let's pull the trigger here, because obviously not everyone was fully sold on Thibs throughout the season. You saw Mikal Bridges being like, hey, we should play our bench more. You would see OG get a little frustrated on the court, when he's not getting enough touches. And just in general, the readily available data that pointed to the fact that Tom Thibodeau was not playing the Knicks' best lineups enough. It feels like it was just, it had to happen. If the data that we are privy to and we are allowed to see is saying this, you can only imagine what the professional, NBA team data is saying. So ultimately, I feel like the fact that, once the Knicks went deeper into their bench this playoff run, specifically in Game 3 versus Indiana, and you see Landry Shamet come in and have an impact. You see DeLon Wright have an impact. I feel like that was ultimately one of the straws that broke the camel's back here. The fact that Thibs was saying all year, just stay ready, but he felt like Campaign, Deuce, and Mitch bench was, that bench unit would have been, good. He didn't need to play Landry Shamet, but then the fact that, hey, the season is on the line, now he goes to them and it's clear these guys could have been helping the entire way. It's not a good look, especially after you blew the games, how you blew them. The lack of adjustments, Game 1 versus Indiana, I don't want to go through that again, but it's a culmination of little things and margins the Knicks lost that ultimately I feel like led us to the position where Tom Thibodeau is now relieved of his duties. Who do I want in terms of a head coach? Well, I think the Knicks obviously have someone in mind. They did not just fire Thibs for fun. I feel like it's probably Johnny Bryant. The thing I want most out of Johnny Bryant is just maximize the offense, okay? Of course, defense is going to matter. Play like a switch-heavy scheme. It's not that, I don't want to say it's not difficult, because it is difficult to run a good defense in the NBA, but I feel like the formula is there. We saw in the playoffs. Follow the formula. Obviously, Brunson and Cat, you're never going to be, top 5 in defense, but you could be average, all right? For the most part, this playoffs, the Knicks were solid defensively. It was the offense. So can you find a way where we can maximize guys like OG, Mikal, Karl-Anthony Towns around Jalen Brunson? If you can do that, then this is a good move. Ultimately, Tom Thibodeau was flawed. However, he did bring the Knicks out of the doldrums. We were very bad for a very long time. And back in the day, we used to fire coaches because the lotto balls didn't go our way. Now we're firing them because they didn't adjust quickly enough in the conference finals. So, obviously, frustrations aside, thank you, Tom Thibodeau, for getting us out of the trenches. You will be appreciated. One of the better Knicks coaches ever, the greatest Knicks coach I've ever seen. So, once again, thank you for your services, and we're just going to keep monitoring the situation as it develops, and hopefully we have a resolution on who will be the new Knicks head coach relatively soon enough.